The heat was on at Chittagong on day 2 between Bangladesh and Australia. The tourists are 80 runs behind. They're 2-2-5 for 2 overnight. But it was hot here today, Issam. It was up to 40 degrees, it felt like outside, according to some of the weather apps. And Peter Handscomb, he put on a vital 127-run stand with David Warner either side of the tee break. He nearly collapsed. It
was almost like a Dean Jones in Madras sort of situation. I thought he handled it very well. I thought Pete Handscomb was right down to the ball. There's a saying in Bangladesh cricket that you just have to smell the leather when you're defending a spinner, and he did exactly that continuously. And before the series, I also felt that Matt Renshaw and Pete Handscomb will make a big difference with their techniques. They're not too, they don't move around too much in the crease. And I thought David Warner also batted very well. He just took what he did in Dhaka and brought it to Chittagong. I thought it was a brilliant partnership, and I think Australia are on their way now.
A brilliant catch from the skipper Mushfiqur early to remove Matthew Renshaw. It looks like they might have a chance to penetrate that Australian middle order again, but Steve Smith and David Warner, the leadership axis, put on a really important stand in the middle session.
Yeah, 9-3 runs for the second wicket. I think Chittagong usually eases out as the test match goes on, so I think that's what happened. I think Bangladesh missed out yesterday. They were 253 for 6. They could have been 310, 15 for 6, and then they could have pushed on from there. They ended up on a score. I think they'll be thinking of that they have missed out on about 100 runs. And then now Australia started off poorly, I would say. It was a bad shot from Matt Renshaw. He didn't really put a lot of thought in that, and it was a great catch from Mushfiqur Rahim. And today was a case. I thought there was a lot of opportunity for Bangladesh to put more fielders in catching position. It doesn't have to be right up in close-in positions. There could have been more catchers around the bat. There could have been more bowling for Shakib Al Hasan. I thought Shakib also switched to over the wicket far too quickly to Stephen Smith. So I think certain negativity they've creeped in, but the weather was too hot too.
Yeah, it was. But we also saw, David Warner, you would rarely see an innings so well paced from Warner. He only batted a strike rate of 50 odds so far. And Darren Lehmann, the Australian coach in the media conference just before, made mention of the fact he only scored 4 boundaries. That's largely due to the fact that Warner was able to play it like a white ball innings. So many fielders out, he could just milk it, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and you don't have to look good when you're taking those singles. You can just dink the ball into the open areas. Bangladesh had a bit of an in and out field, continues to David Warner. I think that's again where Mushfiq comes in. He could have pushed David Warner a little more, could have pushed Stephen Smith a little more. I thought those were the areas that Bangladesh missed out, and those were the spaces that Smith got in, that Warner got in, and they were beautiful. The batting, it didn't look great at times. It looked they were struggling with the heat, with the spinners coming every over, but I thought that Warner was brilliant today, and he's up for 100, I think.
Yeah, he is indeed. He's safely in the ice bath now, David Warner and, of course, Peter Handscomb, safely well into the 60s. Both of them look set for hundreds if they can sustain tomorrow. They've batted beautifully. They've put Australia in a very, very good